Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode. Today we have a chainsaw chain how-to. Okay, so today I've got a list of 6 things regarding your chainsaw chain. The first thing we're going to look at are the 3 most common chains for your chainsaw. The second thing we're going to take a look at is when to sharpen your chain. The third thing we're going to take a look at is dangers of running a dull chain. The fourth, what to look for when inspecting your chain. The fifth, the different bar oils. And then the sixth, how to properly install a chain on your chainsaw. We're going to take a look at the 3 most common chains for your chainsaw. The first chain that we're going to take a look at is the reduced kickback chain. The reduced kickback chain has an extra raker, as you can see here, that'll help reduce the chance of a kickback. The reduced kickback chain is also going to be the least aggressive of all the chains. The second chain we're going to take a look at is the semi-chisel chain. The semi-chisel chain does not have an extra raker like that of the reduced kickback chain. However, it does have a rounded cutting tooth like you can see here, which is going to make this chain a little bit more aggressive than the reduced kickback chain. It's not super aggressive, but will cut faster than the reduced kickback chain. This chain will also not dull as quickly because it has a rounded point. This chain is great for cutting dirty, old, or wood that has been laying around or dragged. The third and final chain that we're going to take a look at is the chisel chain. The chisel chain is going to be the most aggressive and fastest cutting chain because the cutting teeth are square, as you can see here. The only downside to the chisel chain is that it will dull quicker, and that if you hit something like a stone, it'll do more damage to the chain. The second thing we're going to take a look at is when you should sharpen your chainsaw chain. So how can you know when you should sharpen your chainsaw chain? You can tell one way is if you are having fine shavings while cutting instead of wood chips. Another warning sign is if your chain starts to smoke, it's probably past the time for sharpening. Another way is that you can look at your chain. You can look here and see that the tooth there is rounded off. And it looks like something got hit, as it's got a rounded off edge there on the tooth. So this chain is definitely in need of sharpening. To get this chain sharp, you would need to sharpen the tooth back beyond that wear spot on the tooth so that you get a good sharp edge on the chain. The third thing we're going to take a look at are the dangers of running a dull chain. So some of the dangers of running a dull chain are you can put additional unnecessary wear on your bar. You can also cause your saw to work harder, causing it to run hotter than it should, which puts unnecessary stress on the engine. And additionally, you can stretch your chain. You see here, you can see the movement in between the rivets and the connecting links. The fourth thing we're going to take a look at is what should you look for when you inspect your chainsaw chain. So what do you want to look at when inspecting your chain? So the first thing you want to look at is the chain dull? You can tell that by looking at your cutting edge, your cutting tooth. See, this chain still has some life left in it. You can also tell by the wood chips that you get when you are cutting with the saw. You also want to check the drive links on your chain. If the drive links are worn, it can mean your bar is bad or the sprocket is bad. You can check your drive link. You can see here that those are pretty worn down. If you look at a new chain, that's what the links should look like. You should also check to see if the connector links are worn. The connector links can wear from a bad bar or bad sprocket as well. The connector links can continue to wear, and eventually they can wear the rivets, which can cause the chain to fly apart. The connector links are these links here. And you can see on these links, they are pretty worn down, and there is actually a burr on it from them being worn. A new connector link should look like this one here. There's no wear on this one. The rivets, which is this silver piece here, as they wear, that's what can cause the chain to fly apart, as you have wear in between the rivet and the connecting link. You also want to check to make sure that there is not any excessive play in between the connecting links and the rivets. If there is, this means that the chain is stretched from getting too hot, and eventually the chain will stretch badly enough that it will not be able to be tightened. So if we look at this chain here, you can see the play in between the links. That means this chain is stretched. You also want to make sure that the chain is not being sharpened too deeply. This can also start cutting into the connector links. So if you look at this chain here, you can see there's not a whole lot of meat left on the tooth. If you look closely enough, you can see there is a line right there that shows you where you are not to sharpen the tooth past. So you can see that till this one gets sharpened, there's not going to be a whole lot of meat left on this chain. So this one could stand to be replaced. The fifth thing we're going to take a look at is your bar oil. The type of bar oil that's used in a chainsaw can also affect the wear of the chain and the bar. If you're using an oil that's cheap oil from a big box store, or maybe even a used motor oil, those oils aren't going to have the same tackiness as that of a good bar oil. Additionally, they're also going to have a lot more impurities in them than a good bar oil. A good bar oil that I would recommend would be the Steel Woodcutter or the Steel Platinum Series bar and chain oils. Alright guys, so the last thing we're going to do is make sure that the chain is installed properly onto your chainsaw. When installing a chain on your chainsaw, you want to make sure that the chain is installed correctly. You can do so by checking the drive links and making sure that the points on the drive links are pointed forwards towards the tip of the bar. You can also check by making sure that your cutting teeth, the points on them, are cutting forward as well towards the tip of the bar. To install the chain, we'll drop the chain with drive links into the bar. And then we'll tighten up the chain. Getting it snug. And then we'll install the cover. We can adjust the tightness of the chain. You're all set to cut firewood. Alright, so thanks for watching this episode of Hilly Ridge How To. If you have any questions about the chainsaw bar, we do have a video that was previously done. You can go into the Hilly Ridge Sales and Service YouTube page and you can find that video there if you have any questions about your bar. Additionally, if you haven't seen any of our other videos, you can go onto our Hilly Ridge Sales and Service YouTube page and check those out. And then we do also ask that you like and subscribe, like our videos and subscribe to the channel so that we can continue making these videos for you all. Again, thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions or anything, you can leave a comment below. If there's anything that you'd like to see in the future, feel free to leave us a comment below as well as we take a look at those. And again, we thank you. Have a great day. God bless.